Hey there Luma, this is the wheat and garter scarf pattern and I'm Denise from loomahad.com. Before we go too much further, I want to take the time to say thank you to Victoria, my Patreon patron, for asking about turning the wheat and garter stitch pattern only into a full project. If you also have had this same question, well, this one's for you. Because that's exactly what I did. I took that stitch pattern and I turned it into a scarf. And to do that, you're going to need a large gauge loom with at least 15 pegs, 94 yards of worsted weight yarn, a hook, needle, scissors, and optional stitch markers. All right, without further ado, let's get started with a U-wrap cast on of 15 pegs. Because I found it easier to knit with the chart, I found it easier to mark my knitting loom with that 5 stitch edge and then the stitch repeat of the actual stitch pattern, which was 10 pegs. So here's my 15 pegs in total. And by the way, these stitch markers and the pattern are available at loomahad.store. And sign up for the newsletter because you'll get coupons and free stuff. All right, so I'm going to use a single strand of worsted weight yarn and I'm going to attach it to my base, my anchor peg, using a simple knot. You can use a slip knot if you're more comfortable. And then I'm going to take my yarn and I'm going to wrap it around those 15 pegs. Now I'm doing a U-wrap cast on, but you can feel free to use any cast on you like. I find this one is way better because at the end I can tighten the stitch. And stay till the end because I'm going to show you how to do that. Okay, so we're knitting flat, which means back and forth, and so we're going to turn around because we're going in the opposite direction, and I'm going to half wrap my peg, take that bottom loop over the top, and I'm going to knit off, and that's my U-wrap. And this is odd, but I'm going to do it again. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to half wrap and knit off that peg 15, and then I'm going to now do all of the remaining 14 pegs. We're not going to slip or skip any edges here, so we're always knitting all 15 pegs. This project has a textured edge. I like the way that looks. It looks a lot different. If you're wanting to have a clean edge, you'll have to add another stitch on each end of the project, an additional stitch, and then you can turn on that stitch and slip or skip, whatever term you prefer, and you'll have a clean edge. For me, I like this textured edge. All right, so once you're done with those remaining stitches, pegs, you're done with your cast on and we're ready for row 1. On this row, you're going to do 6 knit stitches, 1 E-wrap knit stitch, then 1 knit stitch followed by an E-wrap, and then you're going to end with 6 knit stitches. So I want you to pay attention as I knit that the knit stitches are very, very different from the E-wrap knit stitch. All right, so here's the first one. I'm going to half wrap and knit off. That's the U-wrap version of the knit stitch, and you can use that, the flat or the true versions. In my case here, these first 6, I'm going to U-wrap. So half wrap and then knit off. The E-wrap is extremely different. It looks different, acts different, and will change your project completely. So make sure you use them where the pattern is saying to use them. So after you're done with those knit stitches, those 6, here I'm going to E-wrap. So I completely wrap my peg, and then I'm going to take that bottom loop over the top, and I'm going to knit off. And then I'm going to do another knit stitch, and so here's a flat, which you just put the yarn over the existing loop and take the bottom loop over the top. And then I'm going to do another E-wrap, so I completely wrap the peg, take the bottom loop over the top, knit off, and we're going to follow that with 6 knit stitches. So here I'm using the flat version of the knit stitch, again, because in my case my tension is very similar whether I do flat or a U. So sometimes I do flat, sometimes I do U's. In my case, I use them interchangeably. All right, so that was row 1 where you did 6 knit, 1 E-wrap, 1 knit, 1 E-wrap, and then you finish with 6 knit stitches. And once you've done that, you're done with row 1 and you're ready for row 2. Now this row is complex, but it isn't complicated. You can handle this. It looks a lot more difficult than it is. Just hang tight with me and I'm going to go through each one of these stitches with you. And if you've never done this before, I promise you can. So for row 2, we're going to purl 2, knit 2, purl 2, then knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, knit 2 together, purl 2, knit 1, purl 2. Just pay attention to where the knit 2 togethers are. There's also an SSK that is used. I don't use that stitch. I just use the knit 2 together. So just pay attention in the difference of where the yarn over and the knit 2 togethers are. Okay, so first we're going to start with the purl stitches. So take the working yarn, put it under the existing loop. From the top, you're going to scoop up your working yarn to create a new loop. Take the existing loop that's on the peg off, and you put the new loop on and you tighten that stitch. Again, this is my edge stitch. If you wanted to turn, you needed an extra peg, okay? We're going to follow that with another purl stitch. So that's purls 1 and 2. And now we're going to knit stitch, and I'm using the U-wrap, so half wrap and knit off. That's going to be followed with 2 more purl stitches. So scoop up, create a new loop, take the old one off, put the new one on and tighten. Give that guy a twin. So that's another purl. Scoop up, create a new loop, take the old one off, put the new one on and pull. And then the next peg is where the knit 2 together needs to go. So there needs to be 2 stitches here. So what we're going to do is go to the next one where the yarn over should be, which is an empty peg. Take the loop off, unravel your E-wrap. You see that? See how that looks? And take that loop over to where you need 2 loops in order to knit 2 stitches together. So there you have your 2 loops. You take the working yarn, put it over those 2, and take those 2 and knit off. Did you see that? I did them together. By the way, they don't have to be done per se together. Now take the working yarn and lay it loosely over the yarn over, because that's what you're doing. You're yarning over that peg. You go to the next one. It anchors the peg when you do the knit stitch, and then it says that you're going to do another yarn over and then do the knit 2 together. So this is where your yarn over needs to go. So you're going to take that loop off and unravel it. It was an E-wrap, so it was twisted. You're going to untwist it and bring it to where you need those 2 loops to do the knit 2 together. See, 2 stitches are there. So you do your yarn over, you bring your loop over to your knit 2 together, which again, you could do them one at a time. They just both have to be knit off. And that was your knit 2 together. And that needs to be followed by 2 purl stitches. So take the working yarn under the existing loop, scoop it up to create a new loop, take the old one off, put the new one on and pull. It needs a twin, so loop, scoop up, create a new loop, take the old one off, put the new one on and pull. And that's going to be followed by your regular old knit stitch. So in my case, I'm going to go ahead and half wrap and knit off, and then end with 2 purl stitches. And you survived row 2, which, like I promised, is complex without being complicated, because I knew you could handle this, right? And keep in mind, there is that SSK stitch, but I only use knit 2 togethers. So for you guys that do things the old way, I get it, but I find this easier for beginners and intermediates. All right, you're now ready for row 3, which is a piece of cake because all you're gonna do is knit the row. So knit all 15 stitches, and that's row 3. And because you guys are already experts, you know how to half wrap, take the bottom loop over the top and knit off. You guys already know how to do this so well. I'm gonna go ahead and take this time to say thank you to Carol Maple from PromiseLearningATL.com, to Penny Pitchard, Barbara Ledger, Linda Rapp, and now Tara Nichols for covering the cost of closed captioning this video for you. Thank you so much, ladies. It is so awesome for you to do this, and we really appreciate it. All right, let's get back to knitting. So you need to finish the row. All 15 pegs need to be knitted. And then you're ready for row 4, where you're going to purl 2, knit 1, purl 2, knit 5, purl 2, knit 1, and then you're going to end that row with 2 purl stitches. This time we're going to go speedy fast because you already know what you're doing, right? So 2 purl stitches, 1, here's my second purl right next to it. That's going to be followed by that 1 simple half wrap knit off knit stitch, and then 2 purl stitches right here, 1, 2. We're then going to do 5 knit stitches, so real quick, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Right here is the 5th one, and then we're doing those 2 purl stitches, followed by 1 knit stitch and then 2 purl stitches. And once you've done that, what you're going to do from this point on is that you're going to repeat rows 1 through 4. In my case, I repeated rows 1 through 4 65 more times. So I know this seems kind of odd for some of you, and you can't really picture what that looks like. So I'm going to give you a picture so you can see those 65 repeats that for me worked best, and they add up to 264 rows. So here are 3 repeats. After row 4, right, I would do rows 5, 6, 7, and 8, which look exactly like rows 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then I would repeat it again for rows 9, 10, 11, and 12. And you continue to do that. Like I said, in my case, I did it for 65 more times to equal 264. You could do more repeats or less repeats. In my case, my scarf was 55 inches, 4 in width and 55 in length. So you have to decide what works best for you, and then you're ready for the cast off. We're going to be using the basic bind off, but we're only going to bind off 13 pegs, and I'll explain why only 13. You're going to take the first stitch and remove it from the peg and move it over to peg 2, tighten that stitch, and then knit off. Now there's 14, but then you're going to go to the last peg, which is 15, and you're going to remove the loop off that peg and move it over to 14 and knit off. And now that's going to leave you with 13 pegs. And what this does is it kind of curves in the corners, which is nicer. Then wrap peg 2 and take the loop off peg 2 and move it over to peg 1. Tighten your stitch so that you can knit it off, and then remove it from that peg and move it over. Now you have a new pegs 1 and 2. You're always going to be working with 2 pegs. So wrap peg 2, knit it off, take it off the peg, move it over to peg 1, tighten that stitch and knit off, and then move the loop over to the left. tighten the stitch, and now you have a new peg 1 and 2. You wrap peg 2, but so far, and then you're going to move it over, and knit off, and then bring the loop over to the empty peg. So right now you have a lot less pegs that you've cast off, and you can continue to watch what I'm doing. As you can see, I went from doing E-wraps to doing U-wraps. When I'm casting off, it's actually better to do the U because it's tighter, but whatever you feel comfortable. If you want a looser bind off, then use the E-wrap. Keep going because you need to do all the remaining pegs. All right, real quick, while I have your attention, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already done so. And real important, share this video because that helps me a whole lot. And visit the store at loomhat.store. Sign up for the newsletter because I'm not so keen on social media, and this way you know when I have a new video or I have a sale. All right, back to the cast off. These are the last two. So I wrap that peg 2, take the loop, bring it over to peg 1, tighten it, knit off, and pull that last loop loose so I can get the project off of the knitting loom. And you're going to need your scissors, so cut that working yarn, and now your project is free. So make sure that you stretch your stitches because knit stitches look really funky until you do this. So pull them long ways, sideways, all kind of ways. And yes, your project is going to curl and the other end is not going to look that pretty. If you want your other end to look really nice and tight and they both look the same way, you're going to have to tighten your stitches. So let me show you how you're going to do that with this little sample right here. First, find the string where the cast on was done, and you're going to remove it from the loop that it's sitting on in the side. You see that right there? I'm pulling it out. You're going to be fine, don't panic. And then go to the other end and start pulling on those loose loops. It's real easy. When you pull one, it shows you where the next one is, and then you just keep going. You pull and pull until you've done all of those loops. There's not that many of it. You did a whole 15 pegs, so there's nothing to panic. You could see all that extra string that you have. It's quite a lot of string. When you get to the last one, you're just going to pull on that that last string right there. You see? It pulls out, and then you're done, and that's it. And your cast on is tightened, and it'll look nice and neat just like your cast off, and then you're ready to block. Now I'm doing a steam block, so I have a steam iron, and I'm just gonna lightly steam it and then shape it. You can also wet block, and Good Knit Kisses has a really good video on wet blocking. I'm a little impatient and I just prefer to steam block it. And then you can leave it overnight and it'll be perfect. You see how pretty it is? It won't keep curling. And then you're ready to weave in your ends. So I'm going to use this crochet hook. I usually use a end weaver, but most people don't have one. So you can see that to weave in the end, all I do is pull the crochet hook through that string. I just pull it through, and then I turn around and I do it in the opposite direction because this secures that loose string, that it won't come out if, say, you wash it or whatever. It's securely in there. And if you want to do it a little more, then just put it in the other direction. And people have different ways of weaving in their ends. You do it however you feel comfortable. This works for me. And when I'm done, I cut off the extra string. Hey, you know what's cool? Out of this project, you can also make a headband by making it shorter. You can turn it into a belt. You could turn it into a tie. So many things you could do with this project. I hope you love it and you'll try more projects, and YouTube is going to show you videos of projects they think you're going to like, and most of the time they're right on the money. All right, Luma, lots of love, and until next time when you come back and loom with me again.